Hey everyone, we're here from back to a new Simpsons review, and if y'all didn't see the last one, go and check it out. And this is the last episode of season 6. Yep, the last episode of season 6, and to end season 6, we have a serious episode, and it is Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1. So the episode starts with Principal Skinner opening the school and figuring out what this smell is, and he figured out that one of the school pets pretty much got killed, and he tells Willie to go and bury it. And yeah, he finds oil that starts spraying everywhere. And then yeah, it's starting to spray everywhere pretty much. And Mr. Burns obviously having this mating, wanting this thing to be bounced and get taken, and Homer gets it and takes it back to him. And yeah, Mr. Burns obviously wondering, who is this guy, Smithers, obviously. So during that whole gag, and Homer's like, oh come on, he should know his own employee by now. And yeah, when he tries to say, he drops this 1,000 kind of little weight on his head, and it's not very that big. Which, of course, the guy that we've seen before, obviously, Spectre, I just call, comes to Skinner, which, yeah, they figure out about the whole oil thing and how they'll be able to make profit on it, pretty much. It's awfully rich. And Mr. Burns, obviously, reading the paper, and Smithers is giving him an exercise. And he gets on the elevator, and yeah, Homer's still trying his best to get Mr. Burns to obviously remember his name, but obviously he still doesn't. And his friends are telling him to cheer up, because Mr. Burns always messes up all their names. And of course, Principal Skinner showing of how well the school is, even though he's covering the awful school is awful rich, and they start joking around, and yeah, showing exactly what they want to do with the whole rich thing. And yeah, even Lisa's part of it with this musician, which yeah, they again have a lot of approvals, until Mr. Burns obviously trying to pass himself as one of the students, but obviously Mr. Burns obviously sees it through and saying that the oil is not for sale, which he tries to attack Skinner and tells Smithers to get him, which he's using staplers. And yeah, Homer's still upset that his own boss still does not remember his name after 10 years. And Marge gave him the idea to do chocolates. So Mr. Burns obviously doing this scheming pretty much, doing this building. And he's like, it would be easy taking candy from a baby, which yeah, he sees a baby. And instead of taking candy from the baby, Homer sends him, obviously, the chocolates, which he says everybody's name. He says Marge, he says Bart, Lisa, Maggie, even Santa's little helper. But once they're all full, there's one piece left, and obviously he tells Smithers to throw it away. And yeah, he obviously still does not. Of course, he doesn't realize of Homer, which he probably would have forgotten it either way. The principal is obviously doing this announcement, and Lisa pulling this switch, and yeah, only one spillage comes out. And somebody says that somebody's drained the oil. Which, yeah, we see it coming from Burns' place. Which, yeah, of course, him doing his scheme and launching oil out of his place. And it starts to destroy pretty much destroys Bart's treehouse. And Maggie gets Marge's attention, showing what happened. Santa's little helper is having to be in this cast and having those head cones on him. And Bart saying that he'll find out who did this to him. Everybody's starting to complain about Mr. Burns. And Willie is like, he'll kill Mr. Burns. And yeah, Lisa obviously complaining and saying about the whole card. And yeah, it says everybody's name except the card. Or except Homer, obviously. And then Homer looks at it and he tells the kids, go outside. And they back up and he pretty much screams. And all the birds pretty much just run and everybody's all shocked. And Ned is like, are just really shocked. And we could probably guess of what word Homer did say off screen when he realizes that Mr. Burns obviously still not remembering his name. And these gas people obviously coming in, finding Moe and them in the bar and telling them to get out. And Moe getting his gun. Barney's got his gun. And yeah, things are still going awfully wrong with the oil when it destroys the retirement home. And Smithers is actually on Springfield's side and not Mr. Burns's. And saying that he's pretty much crushed everybody and ruined them. And Mr. Burns obviously doesn't care because he's rich. And he's going for a most serious plot, which is getting rid of the sun. Pretty much blocking the whole sun on Springfield. And yeah, Smithers is obviously against that. He wants no part of it, and he's pretty much fired. Mr. Burns fires Smithers, and he starts laughing maniacally and starts stomping on everything. And yeah, we see the paper, and everybody's still complaining that Mr. Burns has gone too far in being so selfish and evil. And Grandpa Simpson's having to live with them until they can fix his room. And then Homer's still driving and wondering who is he and stuff. Just popping out of nowhere. And yeah, he pretty much destroys the entrance to the power plant. And he comes in to Mr. Burns' office and says, I am Simpson, and gets caught pretty much. And he still does not know who Homer is. And he grabs Mr. Burns and starts shaking him, saying, I'm Homer, and gets carried away. And says that Mr. Burns will die for this. And he'll pay. Which Grandpa shows Bart this old gun that he has, which he had for a long time, and he told him to be careful because it's loaded. And Marge obviously tells him not to point that at anything because it's loaded. And she's going to bury it outside. And of course, the mayor and everybody are discussing about Mr. Burns and how he's gone too far. And everybody has a gun with them. And yeah, Smithers says that Mr. Burns was the only friend to him and that he was fired. And now he's all really bad looking. And everybody complaining their problems with Mr. Burns. Homer saying that he can't remember his name. Maggie obviously angry too. And Bart saying, look what he did to my friend. And they look at Milhouse and he said, Santa's little helper. Which Mr. Burns then comes in. And yeah, everybody's angry with him. And Bart tries to charge at him, but Mr. Burns has a gun loaded, pretty much. Yep. Mr. Burns has a gun with him. Yeah, everybody all just angry with him. And him telling everybody to say farewell to the sun since now it's blocked. And yeah, Krusty's been away for weeks, and he's wondering what he's missed. So, Mr. Burns should be ashamed of himself, should be happy of himself for ruining everybody's lives. And everybody's wondering these different things, and wondering where Homer, Bart, and Lisa are, and why Principal Skinner left his mom there, and these different things. And yeah, we see that the gun that Marge buried is gone. Yep, it's gone. And Mr. Burns goes over to this side street, and we hear a gunshot. Yup, a gunshot happens. And Marge is wondering where they are, and yeah, so here's the gunshot, and we see Mr. Burns, obviously, yeah, he's pretty much got shot. Mr. Burns gets shot in the chest. And obviously, everybody's wondering who did this, because, well, everybody's a suspect. Everybody's a suspect for this. Because everybody was with Mr. Burns. But, yeah, a mystery on our hands. And so everybody's wondering who could have done it. And they're pointing at the chief, wondering if they'll be able to figure it out. And he's like, oh, it's his job, and he's going to try his best. And we see to be continued, and the episode ends. Because, again, this is the first part of the whole who shot Mr. Burns. But, yeah, it ends on this cliffhanger. So, hopefully you enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, respond to notifications, turn it on so you don't miss anything new, and let me know what you'll think. And, again, next time we'll be continuing the first episode of Season 7. We'll be continuing the Who Shot Mr. Burns. So, hopefully you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.